Well, hey friends, welcome back. This is day 22 of our 25-day Christmas Advent watercolor paint along, and today we're going to be painting an amaryllis with a wax bulb. Now before we jump in, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the series, and go ahead and tap that like button if you're painting along with me today. And let's grab our supplies and get our paper ready. We'll start with a simple sketch. Now I'm going to start with the bulb. This is kind of going to anchor our piece here. Give it just a little bit of a wax foot and get that kind of brown section where the bulb goes. Get a leaf or a little bud going there. Get a couple little bits of greenery, some stems, and then we'll add our flowers, our petals. Add a little part in the middle there. We're going to add a few little of these central flower pieces. Get our petals in. Now, if you've ever painted a gladiola before, this is very similar in structure to a gladiola. It's got a few kind of larger leaves. Now, I am painting a red amaryllis today, but you are more than welcome to change up the color if you would like. And I'm gonna have mine be dipped in a gold wax. Again, you can always make it your own and change that color. All right, super simple sketch. And if you prefer tracing a template to freehand drawing, you can always find the templates on my website. Now let's get the paints sprayed up, and I am going to use just a touch of the gold watercolor. Just give it that little bit of fun. And I'm going to go in, I'm going to use, oh, you know what? Let's shed some light on the situation. All right. I'm going to go ahead and use a small medium brush. I'm going to start with my red flowers. I'm going to kind of work my way down a little bit, try and mitigate any, getting my hand in spots that I don't want it. So let's start with some scarlet red here. Get some of this brighter color up here. I'm just going to lay it in on all these petals. You can add a little bit of definition later. And then we're going to want to leave these little, I don't know exactly what parts these are called. But these little parts where the pollen sits, we're going to want to leave those untouched. All right, I'm gonna go into my crimson here. I'm gonna go kind of around the edge. Work the edges. Then as I get down here, I want a little more shadowing going on. So I'm going to add just a touch of black down there. And red is kind of fun. It tends to bleed fairly easily. Get some deep red, touch it in there just for a little more variation in the color. Just work our way around the flower. Yeah, red tends to bleed a lot, which kind of makes it fun to work with because you get some real nice soft blending in there if you just add just little touches here and there. Again, I'm going to go back with my black and just add that little bit of a shadow in there. If you feel like it's a little too harsh, you can always go in with a clean, damp brush. Soften that up. I'm going with a deep red. Touch of the black. I want it to stay more on this petal here in the back, so I'm going to keep away just slightly from that other petal. All right. Work your way around all these petals. And if your former scarlet red that we put in has dried, you can always go back in with just a touch of it. Get a little shadow here. Again, get some of that scarlet and a little color variation. Kind of the highlights of the petal area. Well, this flower is behind. It's a little more in the shadow, so we're gonna just add a little bit more of our darker tones here. All right, let's get this last bit of petals over here. Making sure I go around those central parts. And the center of this flower is quite dark. It's got quite a deep center, and I am fine with it bleeding up into this part up here. So I'm gonna go in with my black. It's got just a touch of red mixed into it, and allow that to kind of bleed in there and help create those beautiful shadows. And you can always take your brush and pull out just a few little veins and shadows. We'll go back in a little bit and darken that up even more. But let's finish this last petal here. Being careful to go around all these little teeny parts here. Need some more of that scarlet. Blend that out. All right, and then I'm going to take some black and move that in here into the very central part of the flower. And then I'll add just a little bit back here to this rear flower. Get some of those shadows in. And take a damp brush and just barely soften that out. All right, now I don't want to add the green yet because it will start to bleed quite a bit with the red that we've put in here. So I'm going to go and work on the bulb next. And I'm going to use some yellow ochre. I'm going to leave a nice couple of shiny highlights. I'm going to use some of my chocolate brown. Go around on this underneath side, around here. I'm gonna be kind of loose with this, not super detailed and realistic. I want it to be a little bit easier on the realism here. Go in with a couple of burnt orange little accents here. And just tiny touches of that yellow ochre. A little bit of medium brown here. And we'll get the bulb. I've got some burnt sienna, and I'm being kind of dry brushing here, just to get some of the texture of this bulb. Getting a bit of like a burnt umber type of brown here. A little bit of burnt sienna, a little teeny bit of the coffee brown. Really just adding little teeny bits here and there. And then I'm going to take this smaller brush, get it damp, and just scratch in just the tiniest bit to kind of soften up some of that texture. I still want some rougher texture, but a little softer. All right, next I'm going to get the greenery in. I'm using a smaller brush here. We're going to use some leaf green over here on this side. We're going to add this bit of leaf green. I'm going to leave a little bit of a highlight up here. Next, I'm going to add the tiniest bit of like a grass green mixed with olive. And we're going to get just the next kind of darker tone put in. And use a damp, clean brush to just work those two colors together. Then use my deep green to get these deeper shadows over here. Olive green. We want to vary up our greens just a bit. I want it to look somewhat organic, you know, that organic look. I don't want it to look too fake and plasticky. All right, let's add these central parts of the flower. I'm going to use some yellow ochre here just to add these in, and then just a touch of this dark coffee brown to add some depth and shadows to it, and then the yellow ochre, but I want to water it down for this part because these little pollen bearing parts of the flower are fairly light in color, and we're just doing little teeny touches to get that coloration in there. All right, I want to add just a little bit of definition and to these flowers. So I'm going to use this tiny brush to add just a few of those little veinings and wrinkles that flowers have. And then also the little things that connect those stems. To the central part of the flower. Back here I'm going to add these little veins with some black, just being real gentle with it. following the natural lines that the petals have. All right. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of a tabletop very quickly. And I'm going to use my Van Dyke brown for this. And we've got the light source coming from kind of this way over here. So we'll add a little bit of a drop shadow to the back left side here. Again, I'm being kind of loose with this, giving more of an impression of a tabletop being here versus super detailed. And then I'm going to go in, let's use this nice golden yellow here. Just add a little bit of bling and Christmas glamour to this. Now I'm gonna give a real gentle outline and then get just a little bit splattery over here towards the edge. This is totally an optional thing, but I find it kind of fun. And if you get on your flower, that's not a problem. It's just a little bit of art. I'm going to be a little asymmetrical with this background. All right, and there is our Christmas Amaryllis. Sign my name at the bottom real quick. And I just wanted to share a quick verse from Isaiah 51, verse 3. For the Lord comforts Zion. He comforts all her waste places and makes her wilderness like Eden, her desert like the garden of the Lord. Joy and gladness will be found in her, thanksgiving and the voice of song. And I am so thankful that that is what Jesus has given me. Thinking of that this Christmas season. So that wraps up our day 22 of our Christmas Advent paint along. If you enjoyed painting this Christmas Amaryllis with me, I would love for you to leave a comment below. Tell me if you changed something up, if you had something that was difficult or what you enjoyed about it. I love to hear all of your comments. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you can join me for the rest of the Advent series. And if you're looking for templates, private classes, or live painting sessions, you can find all of that on my website. And I will see you tomorrow for day 23. Thank you.